Building block number 4 is developing coping skills. So this one's big. I feel like they all are, but what does that look like? Problem solving. How can they problem solve? We cannot be with them at school 24/7. We cannot be with them at all times, so they're going to have to solve some problems on their own. How do we give them the tools so that they're able to say, hey, you know what? We want to make sure we give them those skills and those tools. Positive self-talk. So positive self-talk is really, really important as far as being resilient. You know, how do we talk to ourselves? Our mind is like super, it controls everything. That controls how we're going to move forward. So making sure that we use that positive self-talk, we model it as well. You know what? Oh man, today was such a difficult day, but tomorrow's going to be better. And so that's something positive that your kids can learn from. But, you know, oftentimes we tell ourselves negative things. It just comes into our head. But if we're able to kind of counteract that, we can kind of move forward. Talking back to unhelpful thoughts, relaxing mentally and physically. So what does that look like? You know, in difficult moments, they have to be able to say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. It's been a stressful day. Maybe I need a bubble bath. Maybe I need to play outside, or I need to just distract myself with a good show or a movie. Teaching our kids that, because you know what, not just sitting in it and stewing in it, but just moving forward, and then asking for help and support. The younger they know, we were talking about that earlier, the better. If they need support, if they need help, being able to not only ask from us, but from teachers, counselors at school, that's really important. You need to be able to say there is help. There is, if you're struggling with something, they can come to you. Because just think of all the things that teenagers, young children, they deal with, and we are not aware of it. And so we want to make sure that they feel like it's open and they have an open door and they have someone that they can go to. So this is just an example of problem solving. How can we promote it? Set a good example, play games to promote thinking, encourage your child to find answers on their own, so being independent. Prompt your child to work at solving problems, and congratulate your child when they do solve it. So this could be anything from creating a chore chart together as a family and it's not working so well. And so how do we let them be accountable but also feel interested? So we could have, hey, at the dinner table, we could talk about, hey, you know what, we started this chore chart like a month ago and it's not really working. Maybe one of your children is forgetting to vacuum or to do one of the chores, and so we can kind of problem solve together, but allowing them to try to problem solve is key. So making sure that they're able to, you know what, Mom, yeah, I keep forgetting because of this. Oh, okay, so what do you think we can do so that you won't forget, or that can help you remember? And have them give their input, because that way they feel accountable and it's not just, oh, we're saying you need to do this and that. And so it's really important that they have a say and they feel more responsible and they actually feel accountable. Involve your child in family problem solving, which is the example I gave. This is just a step. Define the problem, come up with solutions, evaluate the options, and decide on the best solution. Revising is really important to remember, especially if it's something like a chore chart, which I just talked about. It's not always going to work. Maybe we need to change some things around, but give them the chance to actually give their input. So what does building positive self-talk look like? Ask your child to evaluate their own achievements, so, you know, that they can feel comfortable expressing, you know what, I did that. I did so well. I played the soccer game so well. I got 2 goals in, and they're excited and they show it, and we allow them to show that, because that way they're not. Have you ever met a person who is uncomfortable with someone giving them like praise or saying, wow, you did such a great, they're like, oh no, you know, they're kind of embarrassed. But if you tell your child, you know what, you did that, all that work, all that dribbling practice, you were able to hit in 2 goals, and you're excited and they're excited about it, that helps them bring their self-esteem up and feel like they can, you know, do anything, and they're willing to try new things. Explain how thinking different ways affects how you feel. If we think negatively, how are we going to feel? We're going to feel down. We're not going to feel capable of pushing forward. But if we think, you know what, this is just one bump in the road and we just got to keep going forward, that makes a huge difference on whether you're just going to keep pushing through, because that's what life is. It's one thing after another. Prompting your child to think about what others might think or feel. pointing out helpful and unhelpful thinking. So what is helpful thinking? What is unhelpful thinking? You know, if we have an unhelpful thought, what is that going to do for us? It's not going to do much, right? And so making sure that we, you know, switch that up as quickly as possible and change those negative thoughts to positive ones. And then model using positive self-talk. So how can we help our children relax? Provide a good model on how to manage stress. So when you're experiencing stress, what are some of the things you do? I've heard so many things, actually. I was watching a show and the lady says, I get home and I just sit in my car for an hour because she de-stress, she decompresses from her day that way. And I'm like, wow, she sits in the car for a whole hour. But she's like, and then I get off the car. And she had adult children. And I'm like, that's so interesting. But everybody uses different things. And so it could be anything that you teach them. It could be mommy's having a coffee. You know, mommy's doing something. Mommy's going to have her 30 minutes to watch her Netflix show, whatever it is. So these are some relaxation strategies. There's so many. Y'all can go online, YouTube, wherever. And some kids like to practice specific ones that they can pick up. Oh, you know, I'm going to breathe. And one of the ones I like is you just breathe in, breathe out, and you do your whole hand. So giving them that example because they can just pull their hand up and do that quick coping strategy. It could also be relaxing muscles. What does that look like? Oh, let's relax our shoulders. And you kind of just give them the examples and you know, let's spin our head. And so those kind of things really, really help our kids. And I know y'all have tons of coping strategies. So, you know, teaching our kids and them seeing it from us, that's like the best way that they can learn. It's by modeling and it being that example. Listening to relaxation tape or calming music. I know I have a mom, she says, you know, when my son is all, you know, he's feeling stressed out, we put on prayer, we put on a specific pasture, and I'm like, oh wow. And he'll tell me, he's like here. And she says, Mom, put the pasture on. So he'll tell her, give me that coping strategy. And she'll put it on and he'll calm down. And he'll de-escalate, which I find interesting because he just tells her, and he's like 4. I'm like, wow. He's like, put the pasture on, but that works for him. And so whatever works for your home or whatever you find easiest or they enjoy. Sometimes we give our kids, do the breathing exercise, and they're like, no, I'm not going to do it. And so if they find something that they enjoy or something that works for them, it could just be maybe going into the room and just playing with their toys, getting away from maybe all the air, you know, the noise and all the things that are going on. That can help them as well. Looking for support. You know, talking about this is really important. And I know we've talked about it. Who are those people that they can trust? And telling your kids, you know, talk to your teacher. It could be to the counselor. It could be to me, or it could be to someone that you feel close to. Talking to them about who's appropriate as well is really important. Also, you modeling that behavior. Hey, you know what? I do therapy. There's nothing wrong with talking about that. And that way your kids normalize that and they see that as a normal thing. Hey, you know, Mom does therapy, and they know if they need something, they're able to get that help.